Through a new form of theater, in which the audience is part of the performance, the Denver Center for the Performing Arts, or DCPA, has been focused on attracting Denver's growing millennial population. 24% of Denver's population is between 18 and 38, but the average ticket buyer at DCPA's theater company is over 50.
Our assumption was that by creating less traditional work off-site that was more immersive or experiential, we could attract and engage a younger and new audience. Our goal was to increase the percentage of millennial audiences for the theater company from 16 to 25%.
Off-Center is a division of the theater company that allows for us to take some risks and develop new out-of-the-box thinking in different remote parts of our community. And it allows new ideas to come, and we can test and see what works and what doesn't work.
We actually weren't sure if millennials were going to like immersive theater. We had a hunch, but that was one of the great things about being able to put research behind it, because we could test out that concept.
And will you come with me? Let's spike it.
The market research validated our assumption that creating an unexpected or a surprising experience was very attractive to people. And we started doing a bunch of smaller programs and theatrical experiences to test out what might be attracting these people.
When the DCPA created that program, it was in response to who we had not been seeing at the theater, but also we got some feedback that theater is a bad brand.
To many of those people, the theater is not accessible to them. They think it's for the elite. They think they won't see people like themselves at the theater.
In 2015, we created a show called Perception that was our first experiment in this immersive theater space. One of the biggest pieces of audience feedback was that they wanted more of a story. Internally, creating Perception created a lot of challenges for us, and realized that we had a lot to learn to really take immersive work to the next level. So we engaged Third Rail Projects. We commissioned them to create an original project for us, and the result was Sweet and Lucky, which premiered in May of 2016.
Drink up, boys, and raise your glasses.
Drink up, boys, and raise your glasses.
Drink up.
72 audience members per night arrived at Sweet and Lucky Antiques, which was a speakeasy antique store that we created, where nothing was for sale. And from there, they were guided into over 20 different environments where they uncovered the story, discovered their role in it, and interacted with the performers. Sweet and Lucky was a totally unique experience for us and for Denver, and that's what made it so exciting.
You all look so nice in those aprons, but you have to take them off.
Focus groups really helped us hone in on our marketing strategy, especially when it comes to how we want to talk about these productions. We had to tell them a lot about what they were getting into so that they could feel comfortable making an adventurous choice.
The marketing for Sweet and Lucky was very driven to a digital platform.
In a warehouse tucked inside an antique shop, dreams and reality.
We knew that millennials were pretty much spending most of their time on their mobile phones, and so it was important that they could click on an ad, it goes straight to a mobile site, they could buy a ticket there, they could learn everything that they needed to do.
Step in through a speakeasy storefront.
We know from our research that Facebook was the second way that millennials find out about entertainment choices.
We also learned that they buy a month out. They're not buying all last minute. So how do we time our marketing so that we're hitting that month marker for this age group?
Come on in. Have a seat.
Sweet and Lucky was critically acclaimed, and all 89 performances sold out. Millennials made up 35% of the audience. However, Sweet and Lucky cost $800,000 to produce and brought in less than half that in ticket sales. Off-Center hadn't expected earned revenue to completely cover expenses, but for the next immersive show, the team wanted to reduce the amount of subsidy needed.
After the success of Sweet and Lucky, we were faced with a dilemma. It was so popular and audiences were so positive about it that no matter what we did next, we were nervous about what their expectations would be. So our strategy was to create something that was so wildly different from Sweet and Lucky that you couldn't have the same expectations coming into it. We commissioned a local comedy group, and what resulted was Travelers of the Lost Dimension.
We learned a lot about the marketing with Sweet and Lucky that we are able to apply to Travelers of the Lost Dimension. Number one being that microsite works. It gets to this audience. It resonates with this audience.
Put on your VAG now.
Interestingly, 58% of the first crop of ticket buyers for Travelers saw Sweet and Lucky. Travelers was a fragmented and episodic piece, and a number of audiences commented that they wished there was more of a story and more of a through line to carry them through the show. So that was an interesting piece of learning for us.
When we received feedback from our patrons, they talked about it as being very family friendly. And so for us, that was an immediate indicator, okay, let's flip everything out and start talking about it in a more family friendly way.
We started marketing it to families without changing a single thing in the artistic product itself, and that was very successful for us.
35% of the Sweet and Lucky audience was millennial, and 33% of the Travelers audience was millennial. We're excited with that statistic compared to 19% for the theater company main stage season.
Off-Center wanted to continue to reduce development, production time, and costs, while also meeting the expectations of a larger audience. So the team decided to take an existing script and turn it into an immersive experience for an audience of 200. This was the first time they tackled a musical.
Wouldn't it be nice? Wouldn't it be grand to know your sweetie wasn't squeezing someone else's hand?
The Wild Party is a Broadway musical that takes place in the 1920s. It's about two vaudevillian performers who are bored with their relationship and decide to mix things up by throwing a wild party for all of their friends that starts out very fun and then turns very dark at the end. In our Wild Party, the audience are guests at the party, and they sit on furniture while the story happens all around them.
Immersive theater is becoming more popular because millennials, they take selfies, they put themselves in videos, they upload them to YouTube and to Instagram, and so actually making them a part of the show is a role that they embrace and that they're already quite fond of.
Things we've tried that have really worked for a Wild Party are lessons that we've had from Sweet and Lucky and Travelers.
There's no people like show people, and there's no party like a show people party. We're asking for your help to raise $25,000.
We found that Kickstarter is a great platform not only to crowdsource some necessary funding, but also to really generate ambassadors. And we have, for the Wild Party, over 500 people who are advocates for this project and who quite literally are more invested in it than a regular ticket buyer.
The nighttime is here, and I want a night I won't forget. So make mine wild and wet.
We shot some commercials very early with the cast, very suggestive, not talking about the plot. Very cool, you got the 20s vibe going on, and pushed those out, and we saw a really good return on those as well.
I'm a big fan of the company. I saw Sweet and Lucky last year, and I'm like, I gotta go see what they got coming next.
The DCPA, you know, you think of it as being in one location downtown, and it's nice that it's in a different area and kind of takes you out of what you normally think the experience should be.
I really kind of felt the plot a little bit more.
You never really know what's happening, which is how a party is. You just, there's always something going on, which I thought was like I said, perfect.
So as you guys know, our big goal with all of these immersive shows is to reach a millennial audience. So I know you've been waiting with bated breath to find out if we've done so. As of right now,
the results exceeded their expectations. 87% are under the age of 55, with 35% millennial. 31% are new to the DCPA. 92% are likely to attend an off-center performance within 2 years.
Sweet and Lucky had 72 audiences per performance. Travelers had 45. The Wild Party has 208. And so that's part of our sustainability as we look at how can we continue to do this kind of programming. Can we do it for 300? Can we do it for 400?
We're having a lot of conversations now about what sustainability looks like for this type of work. It's not as simple as, does a show pay for itself in ticket sales? Because that's not a realistic framework for a nonprofit theater. Instead, we're asking bigger strategic questions about what kind of capacity does it take to produce this for our staff? How do we better plan and budget for it? What are realistic expectations for revenue and length of run?
1, 2, 3, sing. Don't you love a great party?
What kinds of spaces are more and less successful for doing this type of work? And also, how does this work align with the larger vision and goals of the DCPA? At this point, we have a lot more questions than we have answers, but we're really exploring from many different angles how to make this work sustainable in the long term for our organization.